Hello YouTube chess lovers and my friends, this is Gunjan here. Welcome to the second episode of Scotch Game. In this episode, we are going to deal with the other alternative of the white, namely knight to c3 in the Scotch game. The Scotch game arises after the move order e4, knight to c6, d4, e5, knight to f3, and after pawn captures, white took this pawn with the knight. Here I recommend that you should continue with the move knight to f6, and in the last episode we have gone through the move knight captures c6 and the move e5. In this episode we are going to concentrate the other popular move, that is knight to c3. Now against this I am recommending that you should certainly play over here bishop to b4, so pinning the knight, thus threatening the e4 pawn once again, and that's why white options are very much limited. Kindly note, bishop to d3 is not possible because knight on d4 hangs, and moves such as f3 is only weaken white king, and later on black can easily exploit that move. So accordingly the best and the only move which keep white in an equal state, that is knight captures c6. Here we should certainly capture with the b pawn, and now the main line continue here with the move bishop to d3. Apart from bishop to d3, in one rapid game my opponent played queen to d4, where I continue with the move queen to e7 and I obtain a very good position. So I don't think so queen d4 is a move which you should consider. Okay, so bishop to d3, and now certainly black should break up the center with the move d5. Again the main line runs with the move e captures d5. But first we need to see what happens if your opponent plays the move e5. Well, this is a very premature attack by white and we can punish him with the move knight to g4, straight away attacking e5. And now let me illustrate why e5 is a very bad move. For example, a simple line can run like this: after white castle and black castle, black is indeed threatening the e5, and kindly note rook to e1 is not possible. The simple reason is after bishop to c5, black is attacking the weakest spot on the f2, and if white try to defend with the move rook to e2, then after queen to h4, black obtain a winning advantage. So other alternative is queen to e2, but after that we can put a lot of pressure on the e5 pawn with the move rook to e8, and after the move bishop to f4, we can play f6, and now that pawn is simply a goner. So that's why here white should certainly capture the d5 pawn. Afterwards the natural reaction is you capture it back, but instead of that I am recommending you should castle first and give white one more option to go wrong. In the database there is only one game where white captured the c6 pawn. Almost all the game went with the castle on the king side. But of course we need to know what happens if your opponent plays d captures c6. Well, after that the line is very forceful. Black will continue with the move rook check, bishop to e3, knight to g4, so pressurizing the e3 square. The only good way to defend this is queen to f3, but now comes a very good move, queen to h4, so pinning the f2 and thus threatening the e3 once again. If white castle on the queen side, then after few exchanges, let's say knight captures, pawn captures, bishop captures, pawn captures, and the move bishop to e6, even though white is upper material, no grandmaster will prefer white position. So accordingly, in one game my opponent played the best move over here, that is g3. I responded with the move queen to h3, and the game continued with the move bishop to f1. So at first sight it looks like white is doing very good, but after black's next reply, that is bishop captures, pawn captures, and the move queen to h6, my opponent realized that he is in a big danger. He tried to defend with the king, that is king to d2, but after knight captures, pawn captures, bishop to g4, attacking the queen, queen to f2, and now queen captures c6, I think white is already lost in this position. And just to illustrate how quickly the game is finished, my opponent continued here with the move bishop to g2. I responded with the move rook check, and after the move queen to c1, There's a finishing blow over here, that is queen to d6. Black has so many threats, and it's not easy for the white to parry all of them. The game concluded in few moves, that is rook to b1, queen check, rook to b2, and after rook to b8, my opponent simply resigned. So in practical terms, after castle on the king side, nobody take on c6, but instead they will do the castle on the same side, and now we are going to capture back our pawn. Now, as I have highlighted over here, white has only few good options over here. Amongst them, bishop to g5 is the main line, but we should see what happens if your opponent plays other move, namely h3. The idea is very simple. White wants to play queen to f3, and then later on looking forward for the move c4 to break up black on the queen side. Well, against this, I'm recommending that you should certainly continue here with the move c6, so supporting your center, and after the move queen to f3, the most important move, you should take the e file with the move rook to e8. If bishop to g5, then it will transpose to the line which we are going to see in the later stages. So the other independent move over here is bishop to f4, and after the move bishop to d6, white idea is to first of all challenge on the e file. So naturally we are not going to allow this rook exchange with the move bishop to e6. Here comes the idea, that is knight to e2, and now c4 is definitely on the card. Well, pay attention over here that this is very important move. You should continue here with the move queen to b8. So attacking b2, no matter how white respond. For example, in this game, white continue with the move b3, and now you play bishop to d7. The idea of black is after bishop exchange and the move c4, we are going to push forward in the center with the move d4. So we are not allowing white to break up our pawn structure, and after few moves such as queen to f4, queen captures, knight captures, g5, hitting the knight, knight to e2, and the move c5, black has established a pass pawn on the d file. Not only that, white pieces are very much passive in this position. I have attached a sample game in the PGN which is available in the description. So kindly go through the rest of the game and you get a very good idea how to play for the win in such a position. One question may occur in your mind, that what happens instead of exchanging the bishop if your opponent plays the move c4 immediately? Well, it is not possible. The simple reason is after rook captures e2, black will simply gain 2 pieces for a rook, which is always going to be a good trade for the black. Okay, let's consider the main line, that is bishop to g5. Here black has to obviously consolidate the center with the move c6, and now there are 3 main moves in the position. Amongst them, queen to f3 is the most popular response, and almost in this line you are going to see this move often. But of course we need to know what happens if your opponent plays other moves. So the first move I want to consider is knight to e2. So idea is very simple. White wants to play knight to d4, and then knight will jump onto the lovely f5 square. Here black should respond with the move h6, and after the move bishop to h4, you should continue with the move bishop to d6. Our plan is after the move knight to d4, we are going to continue with the move c5. So attacking the knight, and now there are 2 options for the white, but knight to b5 is not a good move. The simple reason is after bishop to b8, black will soon kick this knight with the move a6, and black obtain a nice center with a very good position. So that's why the main move over here is knight to f5. In majority of the cases, whenever this knight arises on the f5, which is a very dangerous piece, you should take it off immediately with the move bishop captures f5. After bishop captures, at first sight it looks like white obtain a bishop pair, and black has some loose pawns on the c and d file, but it is just an illusion. Let me show you how. First, black has to continue with the move rook to b8, attacking b2. Now there's an important point you should know over here, that is after bishop captures f6, queen captures and queen captures d5 doesn't win a pawn, because after rook to d8 black position is far better than the white. So the natural move over here is b3, so defending the pawn. And now you should continue with the move bishop to e5 attacking the rook, rook to c1, queen to d6 attacking the h2. And here I have two games for you. If your opponent plays h3 at this point, then I have attached a sample game in the PGN which will give you exact idea how you should handle such a positions. So the second alternative for the white is bishop to g3. Well, against this I'm recommending that you should certainly capture this bishop, and after h captures you should grab the open file with the move rook f to e8. This is a game between two 2400 rated players. Here white continue with the move queen to f3, which is a very natural move. Idea is to pressurizing the d pawn with the move rook to d1. No matter, black continue here with the move rook to e5. And after white challenge on the e file, black double up on the e file. White exchange the one pair of the rook and plays the obvious move c4. So far you should have a very good idea what your response should be. Yup, you are aiming for the move d4. In this game, first black played g6, kicking the bishop, and after the move bishop to d3, now he continued with the move d4. Which at first sight looks impossible, because white can certainly give this check, and after rook to e8, white can simply capture this pawn. And isn't black is a clear pawn down? Well, that's true, but the problem over here is black activity on the king side is more than sufficient. Black continue with the move knight to g4, and naturally white start pushing his queen side with the move rook to a1, and after king to g7 he played the move a4. Black continue here with the move queen to e5, so there is a deadly threat over here. So for example, if white foolishly play a5, then after queen to h5 white king will be checkmated. So accordingly white tried over here queen to d7, keeping eye on the rook, but now comes the star move of the game. I wonder if you can spot it. Black has this amazing blow, knight captures f2, boom. It's attacking the bishop, so white tried the counter sacrifice, that is bishop captures g6, but after king captures and king captures f2, there is no surprise that black win this game in a style after queen to e3 check, king to f1, and now rook to e6. White is defenseless to save the mate, except he has to give the queen, which after all not enough to save the game. The second popular move over here is knight to a4, which more or less has same idea to play the move c4. So against this our plan of campaign will remain same. We are going to play first of all h6, and after the move bishop to h4, it's important to play over here rook to e8. Okay, white execute his plan with the move c4, and now you play the move bishop to d6. After pawn captures and pawn captures, yes indeed black obtain an isolated pawn, but in return black get tremendous piece activity, not to forget that d pawn is controlling some critical squares. Now just to illustrate the plan of the campaign from the black perspective, I'm going to show you a Grandmaster game where he easily outplayed his low rank opponent. In the game, white continued with the move rook to c1, and black responded with the move bishop to f4, attacking the rook. White revealed his plan with the move rook to c5, pressurizing the d5 square, but black calmly played over here queen to d6. Attacking h2. If white plays the move bishop to g3, then I have attached a sample line in the PGN, so kindly go through it. But in the game, white plays the obvious move, that is bishop captures f6, and after queen captures, grab the loose d5 pawn. Yes, indeed, black is a pawn down, but look at the piece activity of the black after the move bishop to b7, attacking the rook, rook to c5, and now rook a to d8, pinning the bishop. So white unpinned the bishop with the move queen to c2. And now black plays the most critical move in the game, that is queen to d6, attacking d3, attacking h2. So what to do? Well, white come up with this sequence, that is bishop check, and after king to h8, he played the move g3, which on the surface parry all the threat, but after black's few responses, that is bishop to e5, white has to save the bishop, so he played the move bishop to f5. But after all this transaction, black obtained a decent attacking position with the move bishop to d4, attacking the rook. White responded with the move rook to b4, attacking the bishop, and after the move bishop to c6, he simply played the move rook to a5. We reached to the most important part of the game, and my question is, can you spot a move which can finish up the white right now? Yes, indeed, there is such a move exists in the position where in fact white can resign the game. Grandmaster find this amazing blow. Rook to e3, boom! Well, the simple threat is capturing the g3 pawn and delivering a checkmate. And funny enough, even though white has so many pieces, there are not enough resources to stop this. The best white can do is to capture this rook, but after bishop captures, rook to f2, black delivers the final blow with the move queen check, and game is over. Okay, so now let's see the most critical line in this position, that is queen to f3. So idea is to double attacking on f6 and asking black what you are going to do about it. Well, here bishop to d6 is the most accurate reply, but I think most of your opponent are prepared for that. So instead of that, I'm going to recommend a very tricky move in this position, that is h6. h6 contains a very good trap in this position, and the trap goes if white plays a retrieving move, that is bishop to h4. Well, here black should continue with the move g5, attacking the bishop, and after the move bishop to g3, black has this stunning reply bishop to g4. Kindly note, queen to e3 not possible. The simple reason is after d4, white is going to lose a piece. So the only other good alternative is bishop to c7, attacking the queen, but after bishop captures, rook captures, bishop captures knight, and after pawn captures, white has some horrible pawn structure, and even though material is balanced, this game can be easily won if black plays some accurate moves. So that was an interesting trap, you should be aware of it. Instead of bishop to h4, if your opponent plays bishop to f4, then it will transpose to the h3 variation, which can be arises after the move order rook to e8. So black is threatening the move bishop to g4, and after the move h3 and the move bishop to d6, we are back into the track of h3 variation. Okay, finally let's see what happens if white capture the knight. So after bishop captures, queen captures, and pawn captures. Indeed, black gets some double pawn on the king side, but because queen has been exchanged, there is not much danger in this position. If we remove all the pieces from the board, then white might get slight advantage, but in the most of the lines it's not going to happen, and following games will give you a very good idea how to play for the win in such a positions. The first important point you should note is black is having a bishop pair, and in many cases black rook will go onto the open E and the B file, where they will get a tremendous counterplay. The majority of the game played in this line, white obtained a straightforward plan, that is knight to e2. So white knight has some wonderful outposts in the situation, but nevertheless black has some amazing counterplay with the move rook to b8. So there is an x-ray on b2. Either white has to play b3, or in this game white continue with the move rook to b1, and now you grab the open file with the move rook to e8. Okay, let's see the two different approach by the white. In the first game, white played knight to d4, Here I'm recommending that you should defend the c6 with the move bishop to d7. And now mainly two approaches done by the white side. If your opponent plays c3 and b4, then I have attached a sample game in the PGN, so kindly go through it. So the most important move I want to consider over here is knight to f5. Attacking h6, no matter, we are going to play bishop to f8. And now we are going to follow one of my game against a FIDE master, where my opponent continue with the move b3. His idea is to free up his b rook. No matter, I continue my queenside assault with the move a5. He stopped me there with the move a4, and now I played the move h5. h5 has long-term prospect, that is, my king can get a route in the center via g7, h6, and then g5, which we are going to see later on in this game. My opponent played h4, and now I played rook to b4. So attacking h4, my opponent responded with the move g3, and now rook to e5, attacking the knight. He responded with the move knight to e3, and I responded with the move rook to b8. My idea was, after rook to e1, I want to double up the rook on the e file with the move rook b to e8. My opponent offered rook exchange after knight to g2, which I happily denied after the move bishop to b4, attacking the rook. Kindly note, rook captures e5 is a very bad move. The simple reason is it will allow black to straighten up his pawn with a very good advantage. So in the game he decided to play rook to f1. And now my king march start rolling with the move king to g7. He responded with the move knight to f4. I played king to h6, and now he played king to g2. Okay, so far it is only black who has done some progress in the position. It's time to activate the only bad bishop in the position, so I played bishop to g4. So my idea was to play bishop to d2, grabbing the knight, giving white some double pawn, and then play bishop to e2 with a wonderful position. My opponent saw that, so he played f3, and now I drop my bishop back to the d7. He continued with the move rook to f2. I played bishop to d6. He played knight to h3, and after bishop to c5, rook to f1, and rook to e3, white is clearly in zugzwang state, and it is not clear what white should actually do. Black's initiative continue here with the move bishop to d6, attacking the knight. Here my opponent made a critical mistake by playing knight to h3. This allowed me to play a winning stamp with the move rook to g8. So there is an attack on g3 which cannot be easily defended. The game finished very quickly after king to f2, rook captures d3, pawn captures, and bishop to h3. White position is completely collapsing. He continued here with the move rook to c1. I give him some checks, so after bishop captures, king to e2, rook check, king to d1, and bishop to f5. In the desperation of counterplay, my opponent plays rook captures c6, but I think it's a big time mistake, and I wonder if you can spot the refutation of this move. Okay, I hope you find this sequence, that is rook check, king to c2, black has this amazing blow, bishop captures d3. After king captures and rook captures, after the whole sequence, black is a clear piece up, and you can see the rest of the moves in the PGN. The second move white can try over here is knight to g3, but against this I'm recommending that you should continue with the move bishop to c5. And now there are two moves white can play over here. If your opponent played knight to h5, then I have attached a sample game in the PGN, so you can check it out. But here I want to consider the most critical move, knight to f5. I got this position in a blitz game against a 2100 rated player, where I continue with the move h5, and my opponent here continued with the move b3. I played rook to e5. So this rook to e5 is a very good move, which not only dislodging the wonderful knight, but it will also give black at the later part to double up the rook on the e file. So very important concept which you should remember. My opponent continued with the move knight to h4. I responded with the move bishop to g4. So planning is bishop to e2 and rook to e8, which my opponent allowed me to execute because after h3 I indeed played bishop to e2, and after rook to e1 I double up my rook on the e file. So the net result is white knight is completely offside, and this will give a great advantage to the black position. He continued here with the move a4. I responded with the move a5, and now he played rook b to c1. I attack his rook with the move bishop to a3, and after rook to b1 I played bishop to b4, forcing the issue. Here white doesn't have any good choice. White has to accept the bishop now. So after rook captures, bishop captures, and rook captures e2, black has established a rook on the second rank, and that means it is only black who is playing for the win. The few moves has been played in the game. My opponent played c4, but after pawn captures, and the move rook to a2, not only a pawn falls in the game, but later on I managed to push my own a pawn and converting the full point. That's it, guys. With this 2 episode, I'm definitely sure that you have gained the confidence to play for the win in the Scotch game. Well, thank you for watching this video. Feel free to like, subscribe and comment on my video, and I'll meet you in my next episode very soon. Bye and take care. When your opponent plays d5 and grab more space on the queen side. Well, certainly here black will play knight to e7. You are going to learn what you should do after your opponent plays d cross e5. Well, here certainly black should capture that pawn, so knight cross e5.